coming up. Coach Hatchell is out. Her resignation comes after an investigator found truth behind some serious allegations.
And it's a Carolina Week exclusive. Kevin Guskiewicz sits down for a one-on-one interview, his first since becoming interim chancellor.
And we'll take you to Malawi, where UNC researchers are working to combat HIV in Africa and right here at home.
From the UNC School of Media and Journalism, connecting Carolina's campus and community, this is Carolina Week.
Well, UNC is making national headlines again this school year. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Madison Forsey.
And I'm Emily Wakeman. This time, the spotlight is on women's basketball. Coach Sylvia Hatchell's sudden resignation is our top story. But first, we do have some breaking news. A group of students are marching across campus to protest what they claim is a brutal UNC police force. The group made their way to South Building holding banners and chanting. They accused UNC police of using unnecessary force during events like the Silent Sam protests. The students say they wanted to voice their concerns to administration. The protesters found the doors to South Building locked, and witnesses tell Carolina Week that someone in the crowd broke a window. After not gaining access to the front doors, the protesters then tried to enter through South Building's disability entrance, which was also locked. As we get more information on the protest, we'll bring it to you. Now to our top story. The university suspended Coach Sylvia Hatchell earlier this month for allegedly making racially insensitive remarks. And as investigators started looking into the accusations, Hatchell submitted her resignation. Reporter Shondell Meniz joins us live from Carmichael Arena with the latest. Shondell.
A few months ago, fans filled these seats to watch the women's basketball team secure a win against #1 seed Notre Dame. But now, as you can see, the seats are empty. The season is over, but all eyes are still on the team, but for a completely different reason. A screeching halt after Hall of Fame women's basketball coach Sylvia Hatchell has resigned. UNC placed her on leave earlier this month after several players' parents met with the university's athletic director to complain about racist comments. This includes parents alleging that she warned players if their play didn't improve, they'd be hung from trees with nooses.
Like generally, at least in college basketball, like whether it's men or women's basketball, the majority of your players or a good portion of your players are Black. So it's just like, what? Why would you ever think that's okay?
These concerns launched an investigation by a Charlotte-based firm that found 3 main themes from their 28 interviews of current players and personnel. First, Hatchell making racially insensitive comments. Second, Hatchell pressuring injured players to play through serious injuries. And third, an overall breakdown of connectivity between Hatchell and her players. These themes are what prompted athletic director Bubba Cunningham to move in a different direction with the women's basketball program.
I'm sitting over here and I'm just taking in every second, every ounce of this.
He says Coach Hatchell agreed her resignation was in the university's best interest. Now, players and students alike are waiting to see the program's future unfold.
Well, I think this is a chance for them to name a new coach who is a completely fresh face and can really restart the program. And again, I think you just have to look at it as a clean slate because this is something that's obviously shaken the program to its core, and I think that you're going to have to really start fresh.
That wasn't it. Now, in her personal resignation statement, Sylvia Hatchell said that she's been considering resigning for a while now, years even, ever since she was cured from leukemia back in 2014. She also said that in light of the most recent season-high win against Notre Dame, the team is on an upswing and ready for new leadership. Reporting in Chapel Hill, I'm Shondell Meniz, Carolina Week.
Well, Coach Hatchell's resignation is just one of the many big stories at UNC this school year, but perhaps the bigger resignation story was Chancellor Folt's departure in January. Dean of Arts and Sciences Kevin Guskiewicz stepped in as interim chancellor in February, and he hasn't sat down for a formal interview with anyone until right now. Well, reporter Sydney Persing got the chance to have a live interview with the interim chancellor. So Sydney, there was a lot to talk about.
There was a lot to talk about, and as you well know, there's been a ton of news coming out of the university recently, so I had the chance to press the chancellor on some of those issues we've been covering all year here at Carolina Week. Take a look. So let us start from the beginning. Prior to being named chancellor, you held a number of prestigious positions at UNC. Dean of College of Arts and Sciences, you were the director of the Goodfellow Research Center, a Keenan Distinguished Professor, you're an internationally recognized expert in concussions, and you have appointments in 3 different departments at UNC. So what made you want to take all that great stuff you have going on and put it on hold to take over during what a lot of people would call a pretty contentious time for the university?
Well, Carolina's an amazing place. It's been great to me for over 23 years, and I like to take on challenges. I started off my research program here at Carolina looking at sport-related concussion, which at that time, back in the mid-90s, was a contentious topic. It still is today, but I believe in addressing every challenge with a sort of using a hypothesis-driven approach, one in which we think about how to attack and approach a problem and solve it methodically, and that's kind of how I led the College of Arts and Sciences, and doing the same in leading this great university.
So part of your job now is informing the campus about safety and well-being related concerns. And I know you know what these are, but for the benefit of people watching, in the last month, your office has had to notify the community about 3 separate incidents. On March 22nd, you alerted students that Confederate supporters came on campus with a handgun. On March 31st, you alerted students that the Unsung Founders Memorial, which honors Black people, was vandalized. Later reports said it was defaced with urine and permanent marker, which targeted student activists. And on April 10th, you alerted students that police found anti-Semitic posters in the library. So 2-part question. 1, why should students feel safe going to school here? And 2, what exactly do you think is happening?
Well, I do believe that we've had over 50 protests on our campus over the past year and a half, and there's a lot of activity. It's no different than a lot of campus communities. I know that our police force works tirelessly to try to ensure safety. Fortunately, with all of those events, we've not had serious injuries or deaths, and that's a fact. And we still have work to do. This Public Safety Commission that I will announce next week will be, I think, an important next step that will allow our campus community to communicate more effectively with our police department, allow the police department to communicate more effectively back to the campus community. It's going to provide a way in which concerns and complaints around safety we can create a conduit back to the administration by way of this Public Safety Commission. So I'm optimistic.
But to the second point of that question, I know you said universities elsewhere have protests, and that's certainly the case, but 3 incidents in 3 to 4 weeks is pretty high. Why do you think that UNC is a target for these kinds of things?
Well, I struggle with that, and I'm very concerned. I was disheartened last week when on 2 occasions I had to denounce activities that happened here, and I remain and stand steadfast against anti-Semitism, extremism, racism, hate of all kind, and we have to do everything possible to try to eradicate it from our campus. And I don't know why it's been a challenging time, but we're prepared to face it and to engage the campus community in the ways in which we can try to eradicate it from our campus.
Right when you were announced as interim chancellor, President Roper said you're on record as saying that you don't think Silent Sam should be on campus. Has your position changed since you've become interim chancellor?
Absolutely not. I've said repeatedly over the past year and a half, that I felt it should be removed from campus, and then when it was taken down, that it should not return to campus.
Would you step down if it were put back up on McCorkle Place?
I'm not going to speculate about hypotheticals. I want to continue to work closely with our faculty, our students, the Board of Governors Committee that's working really hard to find the right path, and so that's where my energy is.
Do you want to be the next chancellor?
I'd love to be the next chancellor.
Dr. Guskiewicz, thank you.
Thank you.
We appreciate it. So we had the chance to talk about a number of other issues that didn't make it into that final clip. One thing the chancellor told me was he went in depth about his vision of the future of the university, and he talked a lot about becoming a global research hub, which I suspect comes in part from his history in the sciences, which we touched on earlier. So you heard it. He wants to be the next chancellor. So if that is the case, we'll see how he makes that vision come true.
Yeah, thank you so much, Sydney.
Thanks.
And some tense moments for Orange County residents as tornadoes swept through the area. A tornado destroyed a Hillsborough home on Friday. It was one of 8 confirmed tornadoes that touched down in North Carolina that day. The university sent a warning to the Carolina community, advising people to stay indoors and away from windows. The storms caused tree and building damage along with power outages, but no casualties were reported.
With the end of the semester fast approaching, off-campus students are running out of time to sublet their homes. Just one look at social media and you'll see post after post of students trying to find renters for the summer. Out of nearly 30,000 UNC students, only about 8,000 live on campus, and that means the majority of students live off campus, and most of them signed 12-month leases. UNC students searching for summer housing have not only had plenty of options, but also lots of negotiating power.
They're really easy to bargain with. You know, I would be like, oh, this seems like a lot, you know, and they'll drive the price instantly. They wouldn't fight back for it.
And students who can't find subletters are still responsible for paying summer rent.
Coming up, Carolina Week travels to Malawi to show you how UNC is combating the HIV crisis.
All right, crew, let's get started. All right.
Don't ignore the law. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 days before any digging project so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811.
Well, UNC is home to some of the world's top medical professionals and facilities.
What you might not know, though, is that Carolina Medicine has a presence in other countries as well. I traveled to Malawi in Southeast Africa to find out about an incredible program aimed at treating and preventing HIV. Hundreds of kids attend Zama School on the outskirts of Lilongwe, Malawi, starting each morning with a healthy breakfast, followed by learning and life lessons, including lessons about HIV. UNC Project Malawi runs the school. The overall project started in 1990 to research and combat HIV and STDs in Malawi.
Our community group noticed that there were a large number, inordinate number of AIDS orphans.
By 2003, HIV had left 500,000 kids as orphans in Malawi. But through the work of UNC researchers and new prevention methods, the epidemic has been reduced in recent years.
Now, over 1 million people are on antiretroviral therapy.
And UNC Project Malawi is going even further with a new research trial that might mean the end of new cases of HIV. It's a trial for an HIV vaccine. The co-investigator of the study, Dr. Terence Tafatata, says the vaccine would be a game changer.
Then we'll be able to protect a lot of people, and that would also be the beginning of maybe even the end of the epidemic.
If the trial vaccine is effective, it will prevent individuals from contracting HIV by producing resistant antibodies. Doctors diagnose more than 30 a year in Malawi. This number would plummet with the HIV vaccine.
The target is maybe by 2030 that you will be free of HIV.
And Malawi isn't the only country with the goal to be free of HIV in a decade.
In the United States, we continue to see about 40,000 new cases a year, and that's unacceptable. So the U.S. government has developed a campaign called End of AIDS 2030.
Dr. Cohen helped launch UNC Project Malawi and leads the UNC Center for AIDS Research. He says the research being done in Malawi and right here at UNC is critical to ending the epidemic.
Those questions I've just raised, how do we best treat it, how do we best prevent it, how do we cure it, they drive us to work in many places around the world, including North Carolina.
He says an HIV vaccine would be the holy grail for prevention. UNC Project Malawi hopes to bring us one step closer to having an HIV vaccine, ending the epidemic and leading to a better life for kids like those at Zama School in Malawi, as well as their counterparts in North Carolina. The project is also making history in Malawi by employing Dr. Tamiwe Tomoka. She's the country's first ever female pathologist.
Healthcare can be expensive, and for many people in rural North Carolina, it can be difficult to find a doctor. Now some UNC doctors are hitting the road to find them. Rail Care Health is a service run by volunteers from local universities and physicians. The group puts on clinics and events all over the state. The service operates out of a retooled shuttle bus that now features 3 separate areas to treat patients. The mobile clinic is headed to Smithfield next. They'll be there on May 18th.
Students are looking forward to the last day of classes on Friday, but they're probably less excited about final exam periods starting on Monday. Studies show that more than half of college students say that exam stress negatively impacts their final grades. Because of this, the libraries at UNC are particularly busy during exam season. Next week, UNC libraries will be offering special events to take students' minds off of their studies. Students can get massages, free coffee, and play with puppies during the Week of Balance.
And if you want to enjoy a cold beer or a crisp glass of wine for a UNC sporting event, you have to do it either before or after the game. But a recent bill in the North Carolina Senate might change all of that. Reporter Tommy Friedenberg has tapped into the story.
As of now, the Blue Zone inside Keenan Memorial Stadium is the only place on UNC's campus where you can enjoy drinking a beer while watching the Tar Heels. But Senate Bill 296 could change the game. The North Carolina House of Representatives passed a bill allowing UNC system schools to sell beer and wine at sporting events, like their private school counterparts, Wake Forest and Duke. UNC advertising professor John Sweeney says he isn't surprised a bill like this has taken so long to succeed.
If you're a person who is neutral or positive about alcohol being at public events, you wonder why it took so long, but there is also a political contingent that views it very negatively.
Senior Associate Athletic Director Rick Steinbacher says UNC Chapel Hill supports the bill because of the fan benefits.
Giving them what they're expecting and doing it in a controlled way has led to reductions in incidences related to alcohol.
In 2016, Ohio State made $1.2 million in alcohol sales. And since West Virginia University began allowing it in 2011, the school has seen a 35% drop in alcohol-related incidents during games. Sweeney says he thinks information like this is important for convincing people that this bill is more than just a cash grab.
That could begin to make a political dynamic against the assumption that alcohol means alcoholic trouble.
If the bill makes it through the Senate, it will go to Governor Roy Cooper. Until then, fans will have to find their own way to quench their thirst. In Chapel Hill, I'm Tommy Friedenberg reporting.
Senator Rick Gunn, another one of the bill's sponsors, hopes to have rules in place to sell alcohol by this coming football season.
And the wait is almost over. Avengers Endgame hits theaters this Friday with early screenings scheduled for tomorrow evening. But if you plan on going this weekend and don't have your ticket yet, you might have a hard time finding a good seat. According to online ticket retailer Fandango, it only took 6 hours for Endgame to break Star Wars The Force Awakens record for most pre-sales on the first day. Local movie theater Silver Spot claims it sold out its premiere night in about 3 hours, with opening weekend now also booked. UNC senior Lily Schwartz is among those lucky enough to get a premiere night ticket.
I'm going to go see the movie at 11:10 p.m. on Thursday night when it comes out. We weren't able to see any of the earlier showings because they sold out within like an hour and a half for like the 6, 7, 8, 9 p.m. So we'll be there till 2 a.m., but we'll be excited.
If you don't have tickets yet, QAB will be holding a free showing for students on Friday night at the Varsity Theater.
Well, Emily, the weather outside is so nice right now. As soon as the show is finishing up, I am making my way outside to take a walk.
Yes, I'm loving it too. But how long can we expect these awesome temperatures to last? Our weather reporter Haley Boland has our Franklin Street forecast.
Happy last week of classes, Tar Heels. Now you've almost made it through the spring semester for 2019. And whether you're sad to see this semester go or you're looking forward to summer right around the corner, you'll likely be celebrating the last day of class on Friday. So let's take a look at the weather for the next 5 days. Now, even though it is spring, today and tomorrow are going to feel a little bit more like summer. Today and Thursday have highs of 86 and it will be sunny. So get outside and enjoy that weather before final exams start next week. And I hate to say it, but Thursday night going into the last day of class on Friday, we're looking at some rain. There's a 50% chance of rain starting at 2 a.m. Friday morning, and that carries out through the entire day on Friday for a total chance of 70% of rain and thunderstorms throughout your day on the last day of class. However, hold out some hope. This weekend does look beautiful. Saturday has a high of 73 and it will be sunny. So there is a little bit of hope there, as well as for Sunday, there's a high of 78 and it will be sunny as well. Now, please don't let this rain ruin your end of the year celebrations. Congratulations to the class of 2019. That's all I've got for you for Carolina Week Weather. I'm Haley Boland.
Coming up, an inside look at the life of a mascot. Carolina Week Sports after the break.
Label me.
You know you want to.
Don't be shy.
You do it behind my back.
So say it to my face.
You don't know me.
You know what I am?
I'm a pitcher.
I'm a striker.
I'm a point guard.
I'm a linebacker.
I'm a setter. Shortstop. High jumper.
Wrestler.
Defender.
Goalie.
Student.
Student athletes.
That's who we are.
Welcome to Carolina Week Sports. I'm Natalie Bodie. The Carolina baseball team took the field at Boschmer Stadium for the first time after a marathon series against Boston College, this time to take on Coastal Carolina. Andrew Grogan capped off a 1-2-3 first inning with this extra effort play on a ground ball and followed it up by striking out Keaton Rivers. He finished with a career-high 7 2/3 innings pitched, allowing just 1 run and no walks. The bottom of the order powered the Tar Heel offense as Ashton McGee opens the scoring with an RBI slap past third base that scores Ike Freeman in the second inning. McGee and catcher Brandon Martirano hit back-to-back bombs in the 5th inning as the Tar Heels jump on pitcher Nick Parker and go on to win 6-1. With that, the Diamond Heels are now 31-11 on the year and hold a share of the ACC Coastal Division lead. They face the Virginia Cavaliers in a weekend series beginning this Friday. And folks, after game 1, there will be a fireworks display, so be sure to be there. And after winning 2 games against a ranked Virginia Tech team this weekend, UNC softball returned home to take on UNCW yesterday. It started out as a pitching duel with neither team getting on base in the first 3 innings. Hannah George was throwing heat for the Tar Heels, giving up just 3 hits the entire game. But with the score tied at 0 in the top of the 6th, UNCW had a great opportunity to put some runs on the board with bases loaded. George forced a pop out to get out of the jam, and just minutes later, Carolina's offense finally came to life. With 2 outs and runners on second and third, Christina Burkhart came up with a clutch double that scored 2 runs and gave the Heels their first lead. Then at the next at-bat, Keani Ramsey drove in another run with a single of her own. That cushion was enough to give UNC their 6th win in the last 7 games. And even with quite some time until next season, the new additions to Carolina basketball are already looking promising. The Tar Heels picked up 5-star Cole Anthony on Tuesday morning, the number 2 recruit in the ESPN Top 100. And hours later, 4-star Anthony Harris committed to Carolina during his official visit. Cole Anthony is the first player to sweep the MVP awards in all 3 major high school all-star games. As for Harris, he ranks as the number 8 combo guard in the country. Anthony and Harris joined 5-star Armando Baycott as well as 3-star Jeremiah Francis in Carolina's 2019 recruiting class. And Carolina Athletics celebrated the 7th annual Rammy Awards Monday night at Memorial Hall. The event highlighted the accomplishments of student athletes in academics, athletics, and community service, with awards ranging from Best Female and Male Newcomers of the Year to the Winningest Team of the Year. Individuals and teams who excelled during their seasons received trophies. Charlotte Melgard from the rowing team talked about why these awards are so important.
It's just a big honor to be a Carolina athlete in general. So to come to something like this where like all the athletes are in one place celebrating all our achievements is pretty cool.
Curly blue horns, bright blue eyes, and a childlike disposition, Ramses Jr. has been the sidekick to UNC's main mascot since 2015. Reporter Marin Harold takes an inside look at who is behind the mask.
People of all generations enjoy this fluffy mascot's presence at Carolina games. Oftentimes, children have a tough time parting with it. What fans don't realize is that the hardest goodbye to Ramses Jr., known as RJ, comes from the girl inside the suit herself. Senior Elizabeth Pollard has been RJ since her freshman year, and it has come to be a huge part of her college experience.
I just think Ramses Jr. has taught me a lot just about like having fun and just like the importance of showing happiness and kindness, because that's like as Ramses Jr. like he's literally just like a 7-year-old kid ram, like just walking around like living his best life and having a good time. And so I really like want to transition that not just from Ramses Jr. but just to like what I'm doing every day. And
behind the scenes, it's not all cheers and glory. Pollard has to lug the suit and mascot head around to all of her events, wash the costume, and get quite sweaty in the process. Though it is physically exhausting, Pollard says that she is never drained being RJ because the experiences and people she comes across makes it all worth it. Pollard is full of life, both inside and outside of the suit, and her love for UNC is evident.
Honestly, I'm going to miss walking out of the tunnel every game, just like going from where it's like quiet and like not a ton of people around, and then just like all of a sudden walking in and seeing like the full Dean Dome with like 20,000 fans just like cheering and shouting, and like looking and seeing the student section and the players warming up. It's just the sounds and the view and everything about it. It's definitely something unique and something that I'm gonna hold on to for sure.
Pollard's mascot reveal was on senior night at the Duke basketball game. In Chapel Hill, I'm Marin Harold reporting.
Pollard plans to graduate this spring, and don't be surprised if her cap and gown are paired with those mascot paws. That's a wrap this semester for Carolina Week Sports. Thanks for joining us and have a great summer.
Coming up, what a year it's been. We'll take a look at some of the highs and lows and talk to seniors about their favorite memories of Carolina.
See on page 4 that the projections need to be flood next Thursday.
Seriously? Thursday? Can't do that.
This is really inconvenient.
I have yoga that day. I have no time for this. So.
I can't do Thursday, but I can do Friday.
Disasters don't plan ahead. You can. Talk to your loved ones about how you're going to be ready in an emergency. Don't wait. Communicate.
Yes. Oh, hi. I suppose you're wondering what an A-list celebrity like me is doing in a place like this. You must know, I'm saving the world. Oh, hi, Beth. Yep, saving the world again. Did you know that 40% of all the food produced in the United States is thrown away? That means everything that went into that food, the pesticides, the water, the land, was all for nothing. Just look at this perfectly good food thrown in the trash. The pizza with extra Cheerios, these goldfish and Band-Aid tacos. And just look at this perfect trash burger. This pasta dog looks delicious.
You don't have to dumpster dive like Ed Begley Jr. to save the planet. Fight food waste by shopping smart and using what you buy before it gets trashed.
That's way better. Ooh, arugula.
Do your part and find out other world-saving tips at betterthaned.org.
Well, Emily, it has been quite the year here at UNC.
It really has. We've seen some crazy weather, historical moments, and lots of changes in the athletic department and administration.
That's right. Reporter Ryan Campbell takes a look back at the unforgettable Carolina school year.
For 105 years, Silent Sam stood on McCorkle Place, but his time at the university's front door came crashing down the day before the school year began. Protesters worked together to tear the Confederate monument down from its pedestal after years of discontent. Mother Nature also showed her rage, as Hurricane Florence came whipping through North Carolina, causing the school to close for a week. Just a few months later, Winter Storm Diego dropped nearly a foot of snow in the Triangle and postponed finals for many Tar Heels. Silent Sam was in the news once again to start the spring semester, when Chancellor Carol Folt announced her resignation effective at the end of the school year, citing disruption caused by the protests and ordering the statue's pedestal removed in her resignation letter. She left the school in January, and a week later, Kevin Guskowitz was named interim chancellor. Untimely exits also defined the year in sports. First was football coach Larry Fedora, who was fired in November after back-to-back terrible seasons. Then, after a solid regular season that ended with a share of the ACC championship, the men's basketball team suffered a heartbreaking loss that saw the careers of Luke May, Kenny Williams, and Cam Johnson come to an end. Finally, legendary women's basketball coach Sylvia Hatchell was forced to resign after 33 years when an investigation revealed she made racially insensitive remarks to her team. This year at Carolina was unlike any other, but the ending remains the same. In 3 weeks, another class of Tar Heels will bid farewell to UNC, capping off a roller coaster run. In Chapel Hill, I'm Ryan Campbell, Carolina Week.
What a school year it's been, and for one group of students, it is their last.
I know, seniors like me and you, Madison, are getting ready to say our final goodbyes. Reporter Peyton Walker caught up with some soon-to-be graduates about their favorite Carolina memories.
Seniors, as much as many of you might wish it weren't the case, graduation is just a few short weeks away, and we are ending this very special episode of Carolina Week with some of your reflections on your favorite memories made here at UNC.
Rushing Franklin Street after we won the national championship.
Studying abroad in Rabat, Morocco.
We had a military ball earlier this year, and our guest of honor and our speaker was the former Director of National Intelligence, James Clapper.
Winning the national championship and rushing Franklin Street.
My favorite memory is finding the vegan cookies in the top of Lenore.
Probably sitting on the quad with all my friends in the spring.
The senior night Carolina basketball game was cool to hear all the senior basketball players say their speeches. It was emotional and a sweet time.
All right, those sound like some good times, but they don't end here, Carolina. You go out there, you make your mark, and let the good times roll. It's been real.
And since this is Madison and I's last time ever anchoring Carolina Week, we wanted to take a minute to thank some very important people.
Absolutely. You see Emily, Peyton, Brighton, and I on camera each week, but there is a whole team of people working behind the scenes to make Carolina Week possible.
Yes. First, we want to thank all of our seniors in the control room. Ethan, our technical director, Tommy on graphics, Alana on audio, Cam, our director, Ryan, our floor director, and Sam on teleprompter, and our executive producer, Candace.
Absolutely. We also have a whole team of reporters that's graduating this year. Marin, Sydney, Keaton, Giancarlo, Molly, Logan, Megan, Mallory, Colleen, and Destiny.
And lastly, we want to thank Dr. Owens, Lindsay King, Gary King, and Dr. Tuggle.
We would not be the journalists we are today without your support.
And lastly, to all of our viewers, thank you so much for tuning in this whole semester and the past 4 years.
Thank you so much, and have a great night.